Hello, we are EFN 8B Group 3. We'll present you a presentation about a journal analysis. Our group members are Lutfia Aina Safa, Lutfia Tulmutawaninga, Milina Staningsi, and I, Kirela Rasati Hartoyo. The journal title is A Study on the Prevalence of Dysmenorrhea and its Relationship with Physical Activity among Young Adults by Chua Wining, Rajkumar Krishnan Vasanti, and Yukteswari Muniandi from International Journal of Health Science and Research. The journal, released at October 2020 as volume number 10 and issue number 10 on page 39 until 45. And as you can see on the slide is how we write it in the reference format. What has previous research found about the topic? Previous studies has reported significant reduction in signs and symptoms of dysmenorrhea in exercise group compared to sedentary group. Inversely, another study on examining the effect of exercise on cramping pain demonstrated no significant difference following aerobic exercises. How will this study add to the previous research? Stress is another possible mechanism that further explains the positive impact of physical activity on pain intensity. Stress increases the sympathetic activity, which can contribute to an increase in menstrual pain by raising the uterine in contraction. With exercise, there is a reduction of sympathetic activity leading to decrease in the intensity of menstrual pain and cramps. In addition, physical activity leads to the production of endorphins, which may enhance the pain threshold.
What are research questions in this study? The need of this study is to establish the prevalence of primary dysmenorrhea among young adults and its relationship with physical activity. Level physical activity may vary across the countries due to physiological variation. Pain severity may associate with cultural differences as regards to pain perception and variability of pain threshold. Students point out a correlation between ethnicity and pain perception and assessment of pain severity is subjective. Methodology: what was the type of the study? This study is a cross-sectional study design was adopted using convenient sampling method. Where or when was the study conducted? The results of this study can be a new knowledge for adolescent adults. Mention the number of population and sample in this study. 165 female participants were recruited in this study upon obtaining ethical clearance from Research and Ethics Committee of INTI International University. What was the sampling technique used in the study? The inclusion criteria are participants between the age of 18 to 30, nulliparous, and persons with dysmenorrhea for the last 12 months. Whereas participants with no history of gynecological disorders undergoing clinical treatment to control menstrual disorder, person with amenorrhea and consuming oral
Procedure. How was the study conducted? Prior to data collection, all participants were given explanation about the study purpose and procedures, and written informed consent was obtained. All the eligible participants have answered structured questionnaire concerning this minor. The first part of questionnaire captures participants' socio-demographic characteristic. Second part on menstrual characteristic including presence of dysmenorrhea, volume, quality and quantity, rate of bleeding, onset and length of menstruation. While the third part compresses on menstrual characteristic related to pain which were assessed using visual analog scale VAS. What kinds of data were collected? Questionnaire. What were the instruments used to collect the data? Visual analog scale, Global Physical Activity Questionnaires. How did the researcher analyze the data? Data was analyzed by using statistical software package SPSS version 22.0. The significant value was it less than 0.05, p-value less than 0.05. Normality was tested using Shapiro-Wilk test, box plot and weakness ranging between -1 to 1. Cross tabulation was used to analyze menstrual characteristics. Partial correlation was used to determine the relationship between primary dysmenorrhea and physical activity. Result. What are the findings? The result of research in this journal state that there is a moderate negative correlation between physical activity and dysmenorrhea pain.
Conclusion. The results of this study show among 165 participants, the prevalence of primary dysmenorrhea is 87.3%. The prevalence of dysmenorrhea documented in the literature varies substantially. The prevalence rate of dysmenorrhea in our study was in accordance to study done by other countries. For example, the prevalence rate of dysmenorrhea in Singapore is 83.2%, 72.7% in Turkey, 84.2% in Thailand, and 91% in Iran. 7, 8, 19, 21 contrary, the prevalence rate in our study found to be higher compared to study in Japan, which reports 15.8%, in Hungary 20.1%, and in United States 36.7%. 21 to 23, the variation in the prevalence rate across the countries was probably tied to the dissimilarity in the methods of data collection, varying them used to define dysmenorrhea in the study population themselves. In summary, our Persian study reported higher prevalence of primary dysmenorrhea among your adults and demonstrate a moderate negative correlation exists between physical activity and pain. What are the limitations of the study? The population is not clear, do not know how closely the relationship between variables, not explained in detail the presentation of developing countries for their population, does not examine other factors that influence. What are the benefits of the study? The results of the study can be a new knowledge for adolescent adults to find out the cause of the relationship between dysmenorrhea and physical activity. Thanks for your attention. See you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.